Hi, I'm Henrietta and I'm your GWC host.
Welcome to GWC. On this episode, we welcome Scott Murray, the entrepreneur in hospitality, licensed trade, travel and leisure sectors. Currently the CEO of Murray Travel, Managing Director of Crew Holdings, co-founder at Wanderlux and MYXT Drinks Co., Chair of Highland Blindcraft and Mikey's Line Trustee. Scott have shared his successful daily routine in his busy schedule, trust in his employees, and how he let go of people who doubted him. Welcome, Scott Murray.
Thank you, Scott, for coming on podcast. And I'm really appreciating your time because I'm sure you're a very busy man. Since I came to Highlands, actually 8 years ago, I've been always in passing with you, and I always heard this guy is building an empire, and I always thought, God, this guy will be so interesting to have on a podcast to share his knowledge of how you build and scale your business. So before I will start talking about this, if you can give us just a little bit, don't have to give us a long story, but just give us a little bit of background, or where this business or the entrepreneurship came from, and did you have to do any study to actually start that type of business in leisure and in hospitality?
No, I got into business because I didn't study, was probably the biggest. So there was no jobs out there for me. So
Okay.
No, when I was very young, still in school, I had jobs and I worked for people, and I saw that the people I was working for had nice things, and I just thought, if I want to have nice things, then I'm going to have to find a way of working for myself and building something. I'm not going to get those by doing a 9 to 5 or something like that. And that's really why I got into it, or why I started.
How old you were when you started your first business?
I was 16.
Okay, what did you do?
Well, no, actually, I was probably younger. So I used to have a paper round,
Okay.
which I think most of us did. But I didn't work for a shop. I went and bought the papers from the printers
Okay.
to cut out the middleman so that I could make more money. And then I used to go around and deliver the papers. And so I would make more money doing it that way than I would working for a shop.
Where did that come from, though? For you to think like that at that age, where is that coming from?
I can't remember. If
Yeah.
I'm honest. I'd love to say there was a magical
it's
moment.
interesting because not many people would think that way. Like you always say.
Well, I couldn't get a job with a shop.
Yeah.
Nobody was hiring. So
okay. So you were like, I'm gonna do it my way, then I'm gonna go and get it directly from people.
So there was you had the Forest Gazette in my local town, and you had the Press and Journal. So I just said to them, will you sell me the papers at a price and I'll go and sell them? And they said yes.
Oh, that's brilliant. So what was that? What was happening after? How did that go for you? Did you then get employed by anyone, or have you never been employed?
No, I have. I mean, I took a job because I thought I had to take a job. I thought that was the right thing to do, and that was the proper way to do things. And I still kind of worked for myself, but I did a few different jobs, mostly in hospitality. Did a year in a call centre. That wasn't really for me. I did work for people for a couple of years, and then just realised that I worked for people because I didn't have the skills.
Yeah.
I had my own businesses, but I didn't have the skills. I didn't know how to run a business, and I didn't know how to do a lot of things. And then working for people for a couple of years, I managed to learn these things, and I managed to make connections through these jobs. And learned from some really skilled people and really clever people, and took what I needed from that. And then a couple of years later, I was able to actually put that into a more solid business than what I was doing.
What did you feel that you needed to learn in order to run a business? Because I think that's what makes you successful today. What were the certain parts that you felt, I need this skill to run a business successfully?
That's a difficult question, actually, because I don't think there is a skill. I think it's a mindset.
Okay.
It's not. You can't go and learn how to. I don't like the word entrepreneur, but you can't learn how to be an entrepreneur, and you can learn what you need to do to run a business, but you can't learn that nature that it has to be something that you believe in and you live and you breathe.
Yeah.
You can't learn it. You can grow into it and you can develop it, but I don't think you can't come out with a degree or a certificate that says you are now a business person. And I think that comes down to who you've met in your work journey. It comes down to, certainly some of the things you have studied at school, things you've experienced. And I think that all comes together And that gives you your own insight as to what a business should look like. And that will either be successful or it won't. But ultimately, that is that was certainly my way. This is how a business should be run. And that will differ from you, or that will differ from everybody else. But for me, it was meeting all these people and doing all of these different things. And that then rounded what I thought I needed to be successful.
How many bars and restaurants do you own right now?
6.
6. So that means you will have number of employees across these establishments and the travel agency. You're talking about delivering the best customer service or experience, shall I say. That's something that you probably will have to be setting certain expectation from your employees to deliver, because you're not in every place every time the customer sort of enters the business to have the best experience. How do you manage to achieve that, or what do you do to make sure that every customer will get the best experience?
So we've got, like a lot of companies, we've got our own brand values. So these are our core values that everybody is taught, and these are what's important to us. And within each of those values, we kind of audit. Audit's a pretty hard word, but we kind of measure against that. So. And when we don't achieve that, we'll go back and we'll identify why we haven't achieved that and what we can do, whether we need to do training, whether we need to implement some systems, or, we kind of look at what do we need to do to make sure this is achieved. And it's different for everybody. Sometimes it's a people thing. Sometimes people just aren't comfortable dealing with other people. And that's something you can coach and you can train. And we do that. We've got a great management team, and they do the bulk of that for us. They'll work with people to, if they've got skills gaps, they'll work with them to really try and build their confidence and build those gaps up. And then, like I said, ultimately, we'll always review as a business where we are, whether it's site by site, whether it's overall, whether it, how happy are our employees, how happy are our customers. And we'll do that various different kind of metrics and how we deal with that.
The number of businesses you have, there is obviously loads of communication that needs to be made for you to manage, or as an owner, to know that every business is doing well, it's providing the best customer experience. What is the communication? What is the level of communication you have, so you know that every business is doing fine, is providing the best experience? Is there anybody who manages for you every business, and then they sort of talk to you, or what is the sort of a structure?
Yeah, so my role is very much a kind of overseeing. Well, I'm trying to what COVID taught us was that I was too involved in the business, and a lot of things rested on my shoulders, and that needed to change. But I like doing what I do, so I didn't want to change that, but we had to. So my role now is very much a kind of overseeing role, and we've got 3 business managers, and they oversee the 3 kind of different portfolios we have. And I'm in contact with them on a daily basis.
Okay.
But under them, you've got the individual business managers as well, and I'm in contact with them as well on a daily basis. Not that they'll come to me. So there's still a very clear line of communication on what needs to be done, but I try and keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on, so that, trust but verify as well.
Yeah. So you said, but I still enjoy what I'm doing. What is it that you enjoy most? Like when you wake up in the morning, what gets you out of bed and you're just totally I'm
I thought you were going to ask me what do I do, because I don't know. That's the one question I was hoping nobody would ask. What is it you do? I don't know. What gets me out of bed in the morning? Usually the dogs. No, I enjoy going to work. I enjoy arriving at work. I'm one of the fortunate people that enjoys what they do.
Yeah.
So that is enough to get me out of bed.
Yeah.
I enjoy going into the bars. I enjoy being in the travel and just seeing what's going on and meeting the customers. And I enjoy looking around at what we've built and seeing people enjoy it. And that for me is a big thing. When you see somebody laughing and smiling and enjoying themselves, or bringing bunches of flowers into the girls that have bought them, that have booked their holidays, and that for me that means we're doing something right, and that keeps me going. To
have the portfolio of now, the businesses that you have, travel and hospitality, where did you start first? Was it the bar and restaurant, or was it the travel agent?
No, it was the bars.
Okay. So how did that come about? How did that look for you? Did you go in and started the business on your own, or did you go in with partners, or how did that look?
No, it was It was a chance meeting in a pub one day.
Okay.
I was working for a hotel chain at the time, which to this day I still keep in touch with people I work with. Some really, really amazing people. Especially the management, learned a lot. What I was saying earlier on about learning from people, learned so much working for that organisation. And I met a guy in a pub, and they needed somebody to look after a unit for them as a kind of short term. It would be my own business until they found a buyer. And I thought, well, why not? And that's kind of how it came about.
Yeah.
And then the month after, I took on another one, and then it kind of snowballed from there.
How do you scale? What is the strategy here?
It's about having the right people. It's all about having the right people and empowering them to be able to make the decisions. But it's also about making sure they understand your vision. So we talked about core values. So that we didn't bring in the core values till probably about 4 years ago, because we weren't communicating well enough, and that's what we did. But the people that have worked with me since day one have always understood what the core value is for. But as we're growing, it's harder to communicate that unless you've got it in writing. So once we've empowered the people to, right, okay, here's the business, 90% of it, treat it like your own. Obviously, there's some things that we need to be involved in as well, but 90%, go and, because each of our businesses, I like to think, has got its own personality, and that comes from the teams and the managers that work in it. And it's that then allows you to, because they take ownership of that, which then reduces staff attrition, and it just makes everything a lot easier to, and then you can move on to the next one and do the same.
How long are you in a business now, since you started your first ever business?
Probably, it'd be 20 odd years.
Okay, so in 20 years you have learned so much, I'm pretty sure. If you look at the 20 years, what would you think that were the most common mistakes that you have made that you would like other people to prevent when they're running their business?
I think the biggest mistakes I've made is putting faith in people that maybe didn't deserve it. You take people. I'm a big fan of taking people for face value, and that's one of the things I love about the Highlands, is we're all very much, things are done in a handshake, and I'm very much, if I say I'll do something, then I'll do it. It doesn't matter how busy I am. If I said I'll do it, it's going to get done. And I just assume that other people are the same, or I did assume that other people were the same, and that didn't necessarily turn out to be true. So you end up getting let down by people, not so much recently, but certainly in the beginning. And so you learn to kind of, I think I said it earlier, trust but verify. So you learn to read people a bit better, and just make those decisions based on more than just trust. That's probably the most common mistake. What
about since you've got bars and restaurants, they're sort of scattered around in Inverness. Do they not compete against each other? Like, how do you make sure you drive footfall to each of them? So they're obviously, and then you compete against other bars and restaurants in Inverness as well.
Well, I think it goes back to what I was saying about having a personality. So each premises has a different theme, not a theme like it's going to be an Italian bar or an Irish bar, but they've all got different personalities. So, bar one is very fun, it's very flirtatious, it's very, the drinks are very bright, they're very, it's quite fun. You go to Scotch and Rye, it's the same quality of drinks, but it's all a bit different. It's a bit more relaxed, it's a bit more chilled out, the drinks are a little bit stronger. You go around to Prime, and the food at Scotch and Rye, it's comfort food, American style comfort food. You go around to Prime, the wine list's elevated a little bit, the quality of the meat that we get in is as good as we can get. The seafood is landed. So very different propositions in each place.
Yeah.
It would be very easy to open 5, 6 of the same thing, but then you would kind of cannibalize your own market.
Yeah.
So we try and make sure that everything we're doing is going to be different. It has a different selling point.
Yeah.
So with Prime, it's the riverside location. That's a huge selling point. Fresh seafood coming in. With Scotch and Rye, it's our own recipe burgers. It's the beer that we sell. It's the cocktails that we put out. And again, bar one, it's more the environment. Even the keg, it is what it is. There's screens to watch sports. You can see sport from wherever you are. You can watch any sport you want. And there's not an awful lot of places that do allow you to do that. So you could be at bar one, the keg's right next door, Scotch and Rye's around the corner, 3 very different experiences in the one night.
Before we get back to our interview, I would like to tell you about today's sponsor, Eyesight Limited. Eyesight Limited specializes in CCTV systems, smart home technology, audio, video installations, networking, and Wi-Fi. They continuously research improvements on current products and new technologies, allowing them to advise you on best solutions and options for your requirements. They recently opened a showroom located at 50 Seafield Road in Inverness, where you can experience the products live, have a nice cup of coffee, and discuss your requirements with their friendly team. Thank you, Eyesight, for sponsoring this episode. Now back to the interview. Scott, how do you manage your work-life balance?
I'm quite strict. I didn't used to be. So we don't have a computer in the house anymore. So we used to have the computer, so you'd come home.
You still got phone?
I do have my phone. I will reply to emails if I'm sitting watching telly or whatever. But unless I know I'm going to have to work in the evening, I tend to try and switch off. Obviously, if there's an emergency, but it's the exception rather than the rule.
Yeah.
But when we go on holiday, we do work, and I actually function. I couldn't take 2 weeks off and not be involved because it's my baby, and I would be more stressed out not knowing what was going on.
Yeah.
So I'll still kind of check in once a day, check how everything's going, and that's fine. And that's all I need to do. And that's fine. But other than that, I kind of treat it as a 9 to 5 as much as I can. And the weekends I'll always take off and walk the dogs or do some work around the house or whatever needs done, go and visit friends and family. And
So you don't have to switch off. Have you always been that way? That you were able to switch off, or did that just come with the experience?
No, it came with getting rid of the computer in the house was a massive. I used to work from home as well, so having an office to go to makes a big difference because you feel that you're going to work and you're coming home.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's still times I'll go in, at 6 o'clock in the morning to get work done, and there will be days like that. But again, it's the exception rather than the rule. As long as you're prepared to do the work when it's needed, you can take your foot off when it's not.
Yeah. What time do you wake up in the morning to start your work or even start thinking about your work?
Usually about 6:30.
Okay. And do you have any routine every morning that you do to sort of get in a right mindset to start your busy schedule all day?
Coffee.
Is that what you have to have?
Plenty of coffee.
Do you have we had a guest that say, I have to have a cereal every single morning.
No, I don't eat breakfast. I don't like to eat in the morning. No, I'll have my coffee, I'll have my shower, and I'll drive to work. It takes about 25 minutes to drive, and that's quite nice. It wakes you up, and arrive at the office nice and ready to go.
What do you like about running your own business or having a business rather than working for someone else? You probably wouldn't know much difference there, but what do you love about being the boss?
I think it's being in charge of your own destiny without sounding really cheesy. It was, again, like we said at the beginning of COVID, I'm happy to fail as long as it's my fault. So if I'm in charge and I fail, then I've got nobody to blame but myself. I can live with that. What I can't live with is failing because somebody else has let me down. So if you work for somebody and they go out of business, or they decide to change the way they do things, or they decide to shut somewhere, for me, that I've got no control over that, and that for me just doesn't really work.
Okay. And when you have meetings about your businesses with your partners and managers, do you ever disagree about things? Do you like things to be done a certain way, or do you take their feedback on board as well?
No, they do as a tool. No, I'm joking. No, I mean, the thing is, I don't see the point of employing somebody if they can't bring anything to the table. So if they're not going to contribute at the meeting, they probably shouldn't be at that meeting. So when we have everybody's feedback is encouraged, and a lot of it helps. You won't take every idea and run with it, but that idea, half of that idea and half of that idea might make a really good idea. And it's those kind of meetings, it's where things, developments and everything come from, new menus or whatever it might be, or even new bars, new businesses, that they all come from these type of meetings. But we want to know, again, we're not in the businesses every day, so we need to know what's going on. We need to know where we're getting it wrong. If we've put a policy in place that isn't working, we need to know that. And we're quite, I'm very much, if I get something wrong, I'm happy to stand by it and apologise. Mistakes are fine as long as you don't make them more than once.
Yeah, but you are in a business for 20 years, over 20 years. You must have seen how this evolved for you. It must be evolving, obviously, every year you're evolving. What do you think was the biggest thing, or your personal change? What do you think that has changed for you from the time that you started until now?
I think I'm a lot more, my wife would disagree, I'm a lot more relaxed, a lot more level-headed than what I used to be. So I can generally assess a situation pretty quickly, and I can tell you how it's going to, and that's just experience. So I know in 6 months how that decision is going to end up. And then that allows me to make a decision now on how to deal with that. And that's probably the biggest change in me, is just that kind of having a bit of perspective, I suppose.
Now you're saying you're quite level-headed. What would interest me when you were starting in a business, and this is, some people are actually not having this challenge at all, but some people will doubt themselves before even other people start doubting themselves. They will go and think, oh, is this a good idea? Shall I put my money into this? Is this going to work out? And then you'll ask people for their opinion, and they will start telling you not to do it because, they will project their own fears on you rather than actually trying to support you. Have you doubted yourself when you started, and have you had people who were doubting what you're going to be doing? It's going to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, I still doubt myself. I hate logging into our reviews because I expect to see negative reviews. We don't. I never do. But I always have that sinking feeling because I think, what if we haven't got it right? And I think that's what pushes me to really drive home the message that we need to get it right. I make no apologies I'll walk into a bar and I will pick any little thing that's not right, because I just don't think it's okay to accept anything less than perfection. I don't think you'll ever achieve perfection, but I don't think that should stop you trying to achieve it. And that's something that people will say about me, is that very much, will pick. I will also say what's going well, but if there's a light bulb out or there's things that shouldn't be there. And that fear of not getting it right, I think, is what, like you say, what pushes you to make sure that it's right. And then the managers and then the staff start to pick up on that. And hopefully they start to see things that we do. And I remember when I was 18 and working in a bar, and not back when you could smoke. And I remember being, I think I was sacked from that job because I'd forgotten to empty the ashtrays.
Okay.
I'd forgotten to empty the ashtrays. It was obviously the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm sure that wasn't just that. I can't imagine I was a delight to employ.
I think it was just an ashtray.
I'm sure there was other things there as well. And I just thought, I didn't see how it mattered. I thought, but somebody's just going to put another cigarette in it if it's clean, so what does it matter? Remember when you were younger and your mum would change the bins in the house?
Yeah.
You can't use that bin because I've just changed it. So you have to wait till tomorrow to use that bit. Same kind of idea. And I just didn't really see the relevance of it. And I think that's where I look back and think, well, if I was thinking that at 18, then people now will think of that at 18, because it's something you learn with experience. So if I can teach them now that these things are important, and if you look after these things, everything else looks after itself, then that's important. So that's that part. And then people that doubted me, I remember sitting in I think it was a hotel, and I met somebody that I used to work with, and we're still friends on Facebook, and we still say hello. And she got a little bit drunk, and it was when we were just about to open bar one, and she said, "What a ridiculous idea! That will never work. I can't believe you've tried to do that." And I thought, oh, right, okay, well, and that actually, I thought, well, that's somebody that maybe not a friend, but it's somebody that I know, and you'd expect them just to be a bit more supportive. And that, I just remember that conversation, and then, you look at it now, and did that conversation make me more determined? Quite possibly. But no, we've had lots of doubters, lots of people that say that's never going to work, and that just drives you to prove them wrong.
Oh, totally. Is it difficult? I'm just going by the fact that I am not even from Highlands or Inverness, and I knew about you when I moved here. People always sort of talked really highly about you, and that was years ago. Is it difficult or is it challenging for someone like yourself who is quite well known within Highlands to make sure that it has to be perfect, because then they will say that's Scott Murray's business that is not doing well? Would that affect you if somebody said that?
Yeah, and I think, I mean, like I said, what we're trying to deliver is an experience.
Yeah.
We're trying to deliver. I want to see people smile.
Yeah.
Whatever business they're in, and if we're not delivering that, then we're doing something wrong. So, I would happily put my name to that. And if we get it wrong, then it's my job to fix that. I hope we're never in the position we have to. We don't get it right all the time, obviously, but on balance, we should be getting it right an awful lot more than we're getting it wrong.
Yeah. You were saying at the start of the conversation, I wanted to build my own business because I wanted to have nice things, and I know that I wouldn't have that if I worked 9 till 5. Do you feel now you've achieved it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all want nicer things. We all want more than what we've got. I certainly don't have a Bugatti in the driveway of a 12-bedroom house yet. But no, I'm very happy, and I think a lot of people say, "What are your goals?" And I'm very comfortable where I am.
Mm-hmm.
When I grow the business now, I grow it. I'm not a rich person, but I'm better off than a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very thankful for what I've got. Money doesn't motivate me as much as being able to go and experience new things and provide for the family and have that kind of lifestyle. And that's very much kind of my motivator, my driver.
Yeah. You're having a baby on the way. You're going to have a lot to...
Yeah, my mind might change in 4 weeks.
I wondered, how would that be? Having a baby is not an easy thing. Are you already mentally preparing for running a business and also having to be there and help and support?
I don't think anything can mentally prepare you for it. I think it's we laugh about it, but it's just another thing to deal with.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds really bad, but it is. It's something. It's just a situation to deal with, and when it comes along, we'll deal with it in the right way.
And I think you just deal with everything like that. You just said that. I'll worry about it when it comes, and I would just sort of figure it out.
There's nothing I can do to fix it, to change it. Not fix it, to change it. There's nothing I can do to change it. So.
Yeah. Have you ever had a mentor in a business, or have you always been able to figure it out yourself?
I've never had a mentor. I have worked with people that I've learnt from, but it depends what you call. I've had people I've looked up to, and I've asked for advice, but not somebody that's been with me for the whole journey. But at certain points throughout my journey, I've maybe reached out. So I suppose that's a yes and a no question, depending on how you kind of...
And have you ever, in the time you run in your businesses, had a day when you felt, I can't bother with this anymore, it's too tough? You had a hard day?
I've never been at the point of giving up. I mean, we've all had bad days. We've all had, do you know what, I might just take the day off today and go and have a walk and just clear my head. I've done that. Not often, but it's nice. Again, it's nice to be able to do that because I know that, I can. I've never kind of been at the point of going, let's just draw a line under it. Because that would mean having to go into work for somebody else, which I don't want to do.
And you pointed there, you were going for a walk. So when you have a hard day, because I'm sure there was plenty that you had in 20 years, what is the best way for you to deal with the difficult day? How do you overcome it?
Wine's good. Wine is a good no. I like to cook.
Yeah? Yeah,
cooking really de-stresses me. I like to, so I'll cook. Go for a long walk, fresh air, Again, if you're working in an office all day, you can sometimes just getting out for half an hour and having a walk just helps those stress levels reduce a little bit.
Definitely. Scott, I could talk to you for hours. I just got so many questions, but I would run out of time. If you can tell us where people can find you if they would like to book a trip, and we will put links to your bars and restaurants where people can visit and see what sort of experience they can have in there. But if you can let us know where people can book a trip with you, a travel agency.
Yeah, so murraytravel.co.uk. And we're on Strothers Lane, opposite TK Maxx. So feel free to pop in for a coffee or something a bit stronger. We do have a full bar there. So,
do you have any social media for this as well? for your travel agency? Do you have Facebook that people can follow you?
Yeah, so it's just The Murray Travel on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, I believe.
Perfect. And you did say there will be a new agency coming in Moray, did you say about 6 months' time?
So we're hoping to open in Elgin within the next 5 weeks, and in Forres probably March next year.
Okay, and would that be just would it be called the same?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I really appreciated our chat. I think it took more time of yours than I sort of anticipated.
No, pleasure.
Thank you so much. And until next time, grow your business with confidence.